Hey tribe, anyone on here tonight? I'm gonna hold off. Get on. A few minutes. Hopefully I intrigued you with my two C's for the big C. I thought it was pretty creative, but who knows? Could be kind of pathetic and nerdy. But anyway, it made me laugh and chuckle. So anyway, let me know how you guys are doing. If you watch the replay or if you're on now, I'd love to know how everyone is actually doing. Let me know updates on your family and your loved ones. So if you or anyone you know is sick, let me know, because I'd like to be praying for them and just keep them in my thoughts and stuff. And I hope everyone's well. But I realize that this is a tough time, and so know that I'm here for you, and I really do generally care immensely. And so hopefully you guys are staying strong and you're enjoying some extra family time. Hopefully the kids aren't driving you crazy if you have kids out there. I need to know, I'm curious just to know who in this group, who has kids and what are the ages of your kids. So if you'll let me know that, that's going to help me out with something I'm going to talk about later, but that's going to help me out immensely. So, all right, let's get started, because I told you I'd be efficient and to the point tonight. And so first thing I want to do is I want to talk about some stuff that I received an email today from Tony Robbins. And if you guys know about him, he's into the whole fitness and just nutrition side of things, and even cancer research and all that. So he actually had some updates from one of his guys that he had talked to on 7 things that they thought we should know. And so I want to give you those 7 things because I thought they were important, and I thought they were worth our time on this. So let me go in and pull it up here real quick. One sec, it's coming. My thing is working a little slowly now. There we go. Okay. Jumping on it. So 7 things we need to know. And this guy is a virologist and immunologist. His name is Alessandro Setti, I believe. And he's had 30 years of study towards understanding the immune response system. And it came out because there's so much fear out there because of just also the schools closing and everything. So the first one was how concerned should people actually be? And he said they should be concerned, okay, because the number of infections is likely to continue to rise, and the situation likely to get worse before it gets better. Modified behavior is a reasonable thing to do, but don't panic. And so I think, I think it's really wise, honestly, the more and more I understand what's going on and stuff, that, it's better to take over precaution, right, than under. And if we look back in research and stuff over time, in past, because obviously this isn't the first time this happened. So if we look at history repeats itself, right? The cities and stuff in the past that have gone closed down and not had big public events and stuff, were able to reduce the number of people who were infected and actually, died because of it. And so really think about that. I know it's hard because we're all going to go stir crazy, but know that this is, if we all make those precautions and really make sure that if we feel ill or we're not going out, but make sure that we're just keeping safe and everything. And so we're respecting one another. I think that's huge. And they said, that's how does this one compare to Ebola or all the other ones, the swine flu, remember? So like I said, it's repeat itself. And he said Ebola and SARS, I believe, were never pandemic due to travel, not due to travel transmission in all continents. So he said to clarify, this one is basically what is it, this is something that our bodies have never seen before. So we don't have any immunity to this whatsoever. There's absolutely no immunity. That's I guess that's what the scary part is for everybody, is that this is completely new, unlike anything, and just I guess started happening, I believe, if my memory's right, in December. So it's so new. None of us, if any of us is exposed to it, we don't have the any immunity built up to it, from my understanding. And so there's also a lot of research that I've read that there's probably a lot more of us that probably have had it and just didn't realize it. Because if you're not, remember, those health conditions are what makes it worse. So if you're someone if you have parents who are elderly, or if you are someone who, if you're someone who, deals with any kind of health-related issues, that's a greater concern. And you taking those precautions to be extra cautious and healthy right now are imperative. So I want to really recommend that you do that. And then the next question was posed. There's a lot of myths online, and we all know that. Share on social media and the dramatic headlines. What sources can people actually count on? So these are the sources they recommend. He said, I tend to stay away from like any kind of the social. Stick with primary sources like WHO worldwide and CDC, which is in the U.S. And he said, really, those are the ones to stay. So those are the two ones to really rely on to give you reliable information. So if you're someone who like wants to go and seek out reliable, go to the WHO or the CDC. Okay, and so that's a few things. So I think just keep in mind, like, keep the precautions, don't panic, and the 2 C's are gonna go into that, because I think if I don't talk about this, I'm not. This is so relevant for us, and I think it's good to hear someone talk about like what we can do with our mindset and what we can do in the midst of something like this, with so much negativity going on. And so, of course, the big C, of course, is the virus, right? So the first one I want to talk about is the first C that we have, right? One of the C's, the 2 C's, and this big C is back to controlling. And I touched on this last week, and I want to dive a little bit deeper into it, because I think there's some other things that would really help you, and especially if you have kids and stuff, this is a good time to really have some good conversations with them. This is an opportunity. Like, don't shy away from. I'm of the fact, like, don't shy away from conversations with kids. Like, have those conversations on their level and stuff. And I'm going to actually give you guys some tools this next week to really help and empower you to do that if you have children. So, 3 decisions really control every moment of our lives. And these are the 3 that really control what we choose to focus on, what things mean to us, or what things we put meaning upon, and what we do in spite of fear. And so those things, so what we focus on, what we give meaning to, and what we do in spite of fear. So if we look at those, and if you think of those, even kids do that, right? I mean, if we look at, the control of their decisions, right? It's going to be one of those things. And so how do we change, our reactions to this external realm that we're in, this negativity, this anxiety? And it's hard, because if you're on Facebook at all for a little bit scrolling through, like, your anxiety level is going to go up. I mean, or I'm sure, I don't watch the news, I don't have it, but I'm sure if you're on the news, it's the same thing. So I think it's important that uncertain times, like, create fear, okay? And I'm going to have to put on my glasses because I can't see my notes. Okay, and if we think of fear is shown, right? That's when we see, like, the hateful and the hurtful language, right? That's when we see, the society all amped up. That's when we see, like, a lot of suffering and type things. And all of those things happen because that's what that's where we're focused on during our uncertain time. Like, our fear is directed towards that. But living in fear is an absolute choice. And I think that's what the biggest thing here is that we have to get across is fear is actually, like, living in that is actually a complete choice. And we have the power not to live in that, even though we think maybe it isn't. And so I'm hoping to kind of bring this down. So if we have the big picture, like fear, okay? So if we step back for a moment, we look at fear. Hi, Amy! And we see, what do we see? We see all this worry, right? Which is great. So we step back from fear and we see worry about what we can't control, right? So what does that mean? If we can step back and we see worry, which we can't control, that means we have the power to actually master our emotion, right? And step outside of that fear and gather ourselves and realize that we have the power to actually change and focus somewhere else. So we can say that we're really fearful. We can say that we have so much anxiety, and that might be completely true, But I think Tony Robbins puts it really, really well. He says, we may not be able to control the events that happen in the world, but we get to decide how we respond to it. And so if that's true, right, then no matter what, if crisis, no matter what, when we get bad news, anything, we can control how we respond to it and whether or not we feed into that fear. And if we have kids, right, then when we feed into that fear, what happens to our families? they get unnerved. And if you're with your families this coming week, I know that like the last thing you need is a bunch of kids on edge because you're on edge. And so they feed into that. So the best way to do it is for you to be the example. And so I want to empower you with like a way maybe that you can actually change yours and teach your kids how to do it too, is my hopes here. I know that for me, fear used to control me so much. Like I used to be such a fearful person of every little thing. And it would destroy my days. It seriously would. I think sometimes it would destroy my relationships I was in too, because I get so consumed and so worried and so caught up with things. And that's part of one of the reasons like I don't bother to watch the news, because I know like it'll get to me, it'll get to my heart. And if I'm doing that, then I'm not making reasonable decisions. And I'm not making decisions that are led with compassion with my heart. And so, and when I was a foster parent for a long time, and I know that we had a few times when things were just not good in my marriage, and it caused me a lot of fear. And I was not a good foster mom during those times. I'm sorry, I wasn't. I had little patience. I didn't show up for those kids like I should have, and I didn't show them a proper way to deal with difficulties when they come their way. And so, I kind of learned over time how to not let fear control me, and how to actually allow my focus to go elsewhere on what I could control, and actually come out more empowered by it on the other side, if that makes sense. So the only difference is fear. Okay, so fear, either way. Fear is either imagined in the mind, right? Undirected, right? Or fear can be imagined and it's directed towards creating what we want. So either way. So fear is uncertainty, like I don't know what's going on, and so we're all over the place, right? That's what we see going on in the world. Or we can direct it like, okay, so I don't know what's going on, so I'm going to focus it on what I want to happen. What can I do with my life right now? How can we come out better on the other side? And I think it's important to realize that, uncertainty is a part of life, and we're never going to know what things are going to come the next day, or we're never going to know what's going to happen. So we have to learn how to live in uncertainty. So if uncertainty is part of fear, right? Certainty breeds fear. So what do we do about uncertainty? Packing it down. And really, uncertainty isn't necessarily I don't even think it's really so much of a feeling. It's kind of more of something that we tend to live in, right? If we kind of live in that uncertainty. I know, Amy, you might even be able to talk more about this. I should have you get on one day, girlfriend. Like, you'd better talk a lot about this stuff, I'm sure. Give me a thumbs up if you'd be willing to, because I bet you could talk a lot more than I could even about, like, how this goes down. And I think when we're uncertain, we have to have, the only thing that we can do is, instead of feed into that fear, is we have to have faith, and just let go and let it realize that we can't control this, and put all our focuses on what we can. And so, if I can say one thing, I want you to think of like, what if you could come out of this? Like, let's say, a month or 2 months from now, this is kind of, things finally start settling down. If you come out of this and say, man, we really grew as a family. I grew out as a person. Or I use this time because I'm going to be home more. Maybe I use this time and I got some things right in my life. Maybe this is the time I got my health in order. Maybe this is the time, whatever it is. What would that be? Because I think if we don't have that direction to look at, we're going to get wrapped up in everything else, right? And so really think about that. And I encourage you to not just, throw an answer down. Really stop and maybe spend some time reflecting on that. Like, what would, or if you as a family, maybe sit down as a family and go, hey, we're going to have a lot more time. What are some things we can do to better ourselves as a family during this time? And think about it, and then make those goals, and then you place those in front of you, and that's your focus every day, rather than the talk about the things that we don't know and what we can't control. Be empowered with knowledge. Obviously, I'm doing my research. I'm looking out there. But I'm not being consumed by it, because it's so easy to be consumed by it, and then we get paralyzed. I think fear paralyzes us rather than us being take action. And one of the things that you could do with your family, if nothing else, I think during this time is, I think gratitude is huge. I think finding the little things that we can be thankful for is something that just changes everything. I really think that fear has a really hard time living in the midst of gratitude. And find things that we are, the little things. I mean, if gosh, man, I have a roof over my head. I'm not sick. My family's not sick. I checked in with my parents today, and everything. And there's so much to be thankful for, and even just the little things. I mean, I have you guys, this group, and I mean, there's so many little things in my life that I can be so thankful for if I take a moment. And I think taking a step further than that is, I know in my life, when I get wrapped up in my mind, because I'll get in the funk of my mind. I don't know if any of you do that. I'm like consumed, and that's when I kind of turn inward, and I'm like just beating myself up, and just feel like, and just have all these negative thoughts. The only way for me to break out of that is to go take massive action and do something for somebody else. Like, get the focus off of myself. And during this time, I think the focus can be a lot on ourselves. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to their family? What's going to happen to my job? And those are legit, but we can't let them consume us, because there's nothing we can do about it right now. And so getting that focus off of ourselves, and if we show our kids and others and other families around us, like let's take this time maybe to be a blessing to others. And it's like, it doesn't even have to be about contact. I mean, have your kids make some cards, man, handwritten. That'd be awesome. Take up some time, get the crafts out, and maybe mail off some cards and encourage some people. I mean, that would be great. And something simple, and yet it teaches your kids to look at things differently when difficult times come. Like, you can show up and be a bigger person. And I think this world really needs that right now. And so I think if there's nothing else that you do, but I do encourage you to really sit down and think about, at the end of this time, what is it that you would like to actually come out as a family, and watch and see what happens. I mean, I think I know for me, if I really direct my attention on something, that's exactly where I go. It's almost like, if you have your workout schedule in front of you, and that's your focus, it's hard to ignore. It's hard to walk past it every day and be like, oh no, I'm not doing you. So same thing, make a family vision board or something, get creative. And I feel like we could really use this time for something greater than what we're giving it. I just feel that I feel like it can be a blessing in disguise in some way. I mean, when was the last time that we saw the world kind of just shut down like this, that we were actually all at home, and things were closed, and we were encouraged to be at home, and events being canceled, and no sporting events. So, I mean, your husbands are there so they can be active participants and stuff. And so I think that's my first little bit of encouragement. And then the next one is courage. The other C is courage. I think that goes kind of right along. And I want to read, Brene Brown has something that she says about courage. And I was listening to this today, and that's what made me even think about it. So I want to pull up her thing real quick on courage and read that to you, if I find it real quick. And if you haven't read, I pulled up her book. Her book, Daring Greatly, would be a great read right now. If you have not read that book by her, it's a very kind of timely book. I believe any of her books kind of are, honestly, kind of timely. And if there's ever we want to actually read the book together, we could do a book club in here. I'd be happy to read it again. Actually, I have my books on Audible. So if you're someone who doesn't like to read or has to do much, where I work with kids or whatever, get it on Audible. But it's just a very encouraging book about perspective. And I thought that, this is the courage, she said. Courage, the original definition of courage, when it first came into the English language, is from the Latin word cor, meaning heart. And the original definition was to tell the story of who you are with your whole heart. And she goes on, if we think about that, it's so different than we view things today, right? Because courage really originally meant to speak one's mind by telling all one's heart. Over time, the definition had changed, and today, courage is more synonymous with being heroic. But while being heroic is important, and we certainly need heroes, I think we lost touch with the idea that speaking honestly and opening about who we are and what we're feeling and about our experiences, good and bad, is the definition of courage. Heroic is often about putting our life on the line. Ordinary courage is about putting our vulnerability on the line. In today's world, that's pretty extraordinary. And with that, I want to talk to you, I think courage when it comes to empowering your kids to have courage. Because during this time, I'm sure your kids have thoughts and feelings and emotions. And I know one of the things that it took me until my late 30s to actually be able to express how I feel and be able to actually like process how I feel in that moment, because I was always just stuffing. I mean, and that leads to so many different problems in your life, like so many. And maybe you're someone who's had that too. And I'm happy to like help you work through that. If you're someone who does, let me know if that's something you guys want, because I mean, I've walked through that big time. And I think empowering kids to go, this is how I'm feeling, and them feeling heard with that, and not like, oh, don't feel that, you shouldn't be feeling that way, but being like, I hear you. You feel this way because, and then if it's a negative feeling, we could, we have the power to rewrite that and teach kids how to rewrite that. Okay, we're feeling this. Is there anything, and that's where that is. Can we control that? Teach them about that. Like, can we control that? And if they're like, no, we can't. Okay, how can we turn the story then and make it get something powerful? And so teaching kids, I think, something from a young age to have courage to speak up and that be valued within a home. I just see that kids who can embrace something like that, when I would teach that class, like who I could actually get through to them and they would embrace that, they excelled so much more all throughout school, and just even in relationships with there's friendships, and even with making wiser choices. And I think because they would have those conversations of like, I don't know what to do in this situation, or know how to maybe rewrite a story that's negative. And so that's a little like tool and I encourage you to do that for yourself too. If stop and really think about your thoughts this week, and I think it's a good time for that. So I have a couple of challenges, or kind of like fit like encouragement things for you to do each day, and really, if we're especially around, I know I'm hitting at kids a lot because I'm thinking a lot of you probably have kids, or but these are good for even for single people like me, because I use it too. Watch your words this week, and watch your actions, and watch what you're talking about, and watch your actions, because kids pick up on that. And when in times of like anxiety or in times of stress, we're going to revert to just natural things, and a lot of times in our natural state, like we don't speak very kindly of ourselves, or of maybe the government, or of just in general, we have very negative talk in general, and our body language is very like and stress, and that's placing so much stress on your immunity. Number one, like that's gonna decrease your immunity grandly, like if you're stressing, if you have that negativity. But two, it's affecting your environment and your kids, and we can control our environments right now. The last thing we need is to have homes filled with anxiety and stuff. And so check yourself, or maybe you have words in your family, like, hey, if you have a family meeting, like we're gonna really focus on speaking positive things. If we hear anyone speaks negative about themselves or something else, maybe you have your code word, make up a funny code word that someone yells out if they hear that, because sometimes we don't catch ourselves. And just start listening to that and see if there's any patterns. I encourage you to see if there's any patterns in your thought process, because a lot of times those patterns will signify that's a point in our life that's actually has a grip on us and maybe is holding us back, and we could do some work there with that. And so I'm going to talk more about that next week, like what to do with those kind of things. But so this week I just encourage you to really be aware, and also if you have kids, be aware of what they're saying, because you're not around, you think about it, you might have some extra time with them, and when they're normally at school, so you wouldn't hear the kind of their normal language throughout the day. And so really listen in. If they're repeating something over and over again, like some negative self-talk, time to change is now. Others are going to keep doing it when they're older, and find out where that's coming from. Because who knows what, you might be able to uncover some things that are going on at school. And if there's a bullying issue or anything, I have some great resources for you guys. So like if you have any school like behavior type issues, great things, I can totally empower you as a parent there. But I just think it's an opportunity there to kind of really listen to your kids and really listen to what's going on. Because I know for me, I kept quiet a lot growing up. My parents had no clue like what was going on with me at school most of the time. absolutely would never know. And so I think, allowing that freedom to talk, but then to listening in to what your kids aren't saying would be really helpful, because it's a rough place out there. I wouldn't want to be a kid right now. I thought it was mean when I was growing up, but I don't know, definitely wouldn't want to be a kid right now. And then I encourage you to do something active every day. Decide on as a family, if you're a family, or as yourself, or, grab another friend who's maybe single, or, if your husband or boyfriend, whatever, and do something active every day, because we want to keep moving. If we're stuck up at home, it's easy to get, break out, all the snacks, pop down, watch movie after movie after movie. And I saw a post today. I'm like, it's going to be called the Convo 15 because it's like everyone's going to gain weight. And so I thought about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, because what happens when we're fearful and we have anxiety, we tend to stuff ourselves, right? But that's not helping. So get moving every day. Make a goal for you and your family to get moving. And I love it. Post some pictures of you and your family moving or something in the group. And if I start seeing that, I have some stuff I can give away. So you never know what might happen. All right. And then lastly, I have an exciting announcement. I'm really excited about this because this has been something I've been working on for a really long time. And it's kind of a culmination of all. I don't think I might have lost connection there. So am I still alive, Amy? Hopefully I'm still on. Anyway, it said I lost connection, then it says I'm back. So hopefully I'm back. Anyway, I've been working on this. It's kind of a culmination of all different components of my life. Finally figure out they all fit together. Have you ever had you look at your life and how in the world is that all meshed together? And so I've started something. It's called Fit Fam. So 180 Fit Fam. It's taking my 7 pillars, okay, and it is making it for family. And so it's taking the mindset work and making it so it's like a little family type thing you do together. And so it's for families to bring the fit back to fam. And so it's for families who really just want to live out the fit lifestyle. And I'm going to empower families with all the different tools for different ways to, do meals and stuff, and recipe hacks for kids, and actually make meals together, and do fitness together, and do mindset together, and do gratitude together, and learn how to be a good tribe together, and build that family unit up, and how to learn together, and all those kind of things. And so that's going to be coming out this week, midweek. And I'm going to do a preview period, and then it will be a subscription site. I'm going to do discount for the beginning part because of how much time and effort I'm going to be putting into that all the time, and I'll be in there a lot. So I'm super excited. I'm so excited about this, you guys. But along with that, and at the same time, I'm launching a 180 Fit. It's like a full detox. It's a masterclass followed by a 10-week program to actually just, I'm calling it reboot you, because it's more of, it's a cleanse for detox cleanse for your entire body. So it's the mental, the physical, it's talking about our emotions. It's rebooting you and yourself. And I thought there was such a need for it right now, just kind of with all the health concerns and everything, and maybe while recognizing our funks of our mind and stuff. And so I'll be launching that, and this is the first time actually running it this way. It's going to be a 4-hour, it's going to be online, obviously, because it's not person, webinar, and we have 4 different times I offer it between Friday and Monday. And then after that, each week I'll come on and we'll take one of the 10 things that I discussed, 10 steps basically to detox or reboot yourself. I'll take one of those, do a live training on that on a Sunday or a Saturday. I'll kind of have to gauge the groups and see when a good time is for most people once I see what settles. And then that week you have doable tasks to go along with that one thing. So what I find is I've done these kind of reboot you masterclasses live, or I've done them online before, but people don't always implement them unless they have someone there breaking up and actually doing it, and someone who's there we're doing this together. So there'll be a private group and accountability and support there. And so it'll last for the 10 weeks, and I'll be live and I'll be in the group and stuff, and you'll be getting a lot from me there with a bunch of different resources and just a guide to go all the way through each week. But if you are somebody who just wants to kind of reboot your life, this is it for you. I can tell you that this is all of my research, all of my personal, 40 years of figuring out things, scattered, I've put, condensed into 10 weeks for you, so you don't have to spend 40 years doing it. And it really is. We're going to talk about the body, and you're going to be empowered with knowledge. So when you reboot yourself, you can settle into it. It's not like reboot and then fall back into, old habits, old ways of thinking, old ways of doing things. It's really kind of that restart. And sometimes we kind of need a do-over sometimes, if we're just I'm just too much of a mess right now. And so I will be coming on tomorrow, and I will be in here, and I'm going to show you kind of more of the details of the program and everything. And I'm offering it 50% off for this first group that goes through it. So this is the best time to get into it. And I'm going to offer the Fit Fam. If for anyone in this group, I'm doing it special for you guys. If you sign up to do the Reboot You, I'm going to go and give you guys 6 months of Fit Fam alongside it. If you don't have family, you don't want that, we'll find out something that's same price that I do, and you can have that. But just as a little something bonus for you guys, because you guys have been awesome in this group, and I appreciate your support. And my heart is to really help you guys out. And I know this is such a difficult time, and practicing what I preach. Think about others during this time, and so you guys are all on my hearts, and I'm here for you. So please know that if you need anything, or if you're struggling, or if you're having a bad day, reach out. I love encouraging people. Please, it gets me out of my funk. I love encouraging people and being there for you. So that's what makes me feel alive. And so look for those two things, the Reboot You and the Fit Fam. I'm so excited about those things. So excited. I'd love to have any of you a part of it for sure. Because I think, I know they could change your life. Because these are the things that have radically changed my life. Radically. And so, outside that, that's all I have for tonight. So thanks for watching, and thanks for watching the replay. Let me know you were here, and let me know, what are you going to do as a family this week? What do you, are you going to watch your words? Are you going to get active? Is there something else you're going to focus on, or as an individual? Let's all put ourselves out there and say, this is what I'm committing to. Because when we actually put it out and we commit to it, right, we're more likely to do it. And then I can check on you and see how you're doing. And I love checking on you and encouraging you. For me, I'm mixing up my workouts because I'm not seeing the results I normally do. So it's time for me to do an overhaul on my workouts. So you can keep me accountable to that. Jen, have you mixed up your workouts? Feel free to ask me because, get into my steady flow. So anyway, but let us know what you're going to do. And I'm always here for you. So love you all so much. And like I said, reach out anytime, and think of how you can be courageous and teach your kids to be courageous and share those things. And think about how you can maybe show up for others this week, and how you can turn that fear and really make it so that it's something that make this a time that you focus on which you can be at the end of it for a positive realm and not for something negative. We can totally turn this time around for something that's just amazing at the end of it if we direct our attention right. And so truly, create that vision board at the end of this time. This is what I want my family to, this is what we want as a family to look like. This is what we want, maybe this is what I want to be at the end of this. At the end of this, I want to come out like this. Because if we have time, we're gifted some time. So what are you going to spend the time on? It can be anything at all. And I think that's very exciting. All right. Thank you all. Hey, Danny and Craig. Thanks for jumping on. Watch the replay. I think I said some good stuff. You have to let me know. So let me know if you guys have any questions or anything. And I'm always here for you. All right. Have a good evening.